In today's video, I'm going to tell you how you can get this $1,500 electric scooter to your house for just a small payment per month. Yes, Unagi has a rental program. Plus, you got to know what you're getting, right? So I'm going to do a full review and road test of their latest offering. This is the Unagi Model One Voyager. It's got a few upgrades from their previous classic version. We'll go over all that and more in today's episode of Hobart Reviews. Let's get started. So Unagi is known for making high-quality electric scooters. They've put over 3 years of research and development into the Model One Voyager. Now, previously they had released a scooter called the Model One Classic, and there are some upgrades to the Voyager that you're not going to get on the Classic. Like, you're going to get more range, up to 25 miles of range here on the Voyager, top speed of 20 miles an hour, which I'm going to show you a special hack in a second that is going to unlock that speed to 20 miles an hour. Also, you're going to have more peak power from your motors. So the motors in here are two 250 watt motors for a total of 500 watts. Well, the peak power on the Voyager is 1,000 watts, while the peak power on the Classic is 800 watts. And that's going to help you get up hills and overpasses and things like that a little bit easier than if you were on the Classic. It also connects to the mobile app, which the Classic did not. Their mobile app is actually pretty nice. And you also get more torque. 32 nanometers of torque instead of 27 or 28, so it's going to feel a little bit more punchy. So those are just a few of the upgrades that you're going to get here on the Model One Voyager that you're not going to find on the Classic, and it comes in at a pretty hefty price. $1,499 for the Model One Voyager. But don't forget, I'm going to tell you about that rental program here in a few minutes that can get this baby to your house for just a small monthly payment, so stick around for that. First, I want to go over all the features and specs, so we're going to do a tour from top to bottom of the new Unagi Model One Voyager. Let's go. All right, let's go ahead and start off in the cockpit. This is one sexy looking cockpit. It is nice and sleek. It's beautiful. Starting off with the grips here, they feel really squishy and gel-like, and they're really grippy. I really like the grips on here. You got this nice big screen in the middle, power button, a button and a paddle on the left, and a button and a paddle on the right. So what do they all do? Well, let me show you. We're going to long press the power button first to turn the scooter on. Here we're going to see our miles per hour, our odometer or trip, our battery level, and our speed mode. Now this little button here on the left, that's your horn. And the little button on the right, if you push it once, you're going to switch between your trip and your odometer. And if you double click it, you're going to switch your speed mode. So right now I'm in speed mode 1, double click speed mode 2, and double click speed mode 3. Over here on the right, this paddle we're all used to by now is this thumb throttle, which I really love over those old trigger throttles. So I love that. But what is this over here? Well, it might be foreign to you unless you have an Apollo Phantom V3, because that is the only other scooter that I know of, and there may be another one, that has correctly implemented the thumb throttle electronic brake. So let me explain. Just like on your accelerator, the more you give it, the more acceleration you get. With your electronic thumb brake over here, the more brake you give it, the more brake it will do. So if you want to slow down slowly, just give it a little bit of brake. If you want to slow down real fast, you give it all the brake. But you're able to precisely control the level of braking with your electronic brakes over here, where you don't even need any disc brakes. So that is my #1 favorite feature on this scooter. I absolutely love it, and I'm going to show you how it works when we go on our ride. All right, so let's take a look at the stem here. This stem is really nice and sleek, and the reason they're able to do that is because they made it out of carbon fiber. This is Toray carbon fiber from Japan. It's the same carbon fiber that Elon Musk uses at SpaceX on his rockets. And it's 33% lighter than aluminum, so that's one of the things that contributes to the Model One Voyager being under 30 pounds at just 29.6 pounds. Now down here is going to be the one-click folding mechanism, which is super simple to use. You just push down on this, fold it down, and it will lock into place. There is no loop or hook or anything on the back that you have to hook it into. It's locked and ready to go. When you're ready to ride again, you just push the lever down, lift the stem, and it locks right back into place. Super simple. Looking at the rest of the front of the scooter here, you've got your reflector on the side, both sides actually. You've got a fender to keep the mud and the dirt off of your shoes when you're riding, and a 250 watt motor inside here. Now this is my least favorite feature of the entire scooter. 7.5-inch solid rubber tires. Now they do give us these little air holes in here to provide some sort of shock absorption, but it doesn't really do much. You're gonna feel every crack in the sidewalk, every bump in the road. It's just not as pleasurable, and it brings the ride quality down quite a bit. Now, taking a look at the deck here, the deck is nice and long. It's not really wide, so you can't put your feet side by side, but you can ride this way. You got a nice rubber coating all the way up here. It's got some ridges on it, so it's gonna keep things nice and grippy even when things are wet. You got Unagi logo right here. Now your kickstand is gonna be right there, and that actually folds up really nice into the body, and you have this just little bit protruding that you can sometimes miss when you're using your shoe to try to catch that, so just be careful. You also have your charging port here on the side, so your charging port's right there, little rubber cover to keep the moisture out, make sure you keep that on, and your rear wheel, 250 watt motor in there, another 7.5-inch solid tire. Now, this is an interesting feature here. I was telling you about your electronic brakes, but just in case you need a little bit more braking for some reason, this is another brake. See how this flexes like this? Well, you can put your foot on here when you're riding and push down, and that's gonna give you braking power over and above your electronic brakes. But I don't think you're ever going to need to use that, but it's there just in case of an emergency. And of course, you have a built-in tail light here in the back. So that's an overlook of the Unagi Voyager Model 1. Let's go ahead and take it out on a ride and see what this baby does on the road. All right, before we get started on a ride, I wanted to show you how to increase that top speed to 20 miles an hour. When it ships from the factory, the top speed was 15 miles an hour. But if you hold down your brake and you hold down your throttle and you press your power button 10 times, you're gonna hear 2 beeps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There you go. Now you're unlocked to 20 miles an hour. It's that simple. All right, let's take a look at the smart app from Unagi. It's a really nice looking app. It's available on iOS and Android. Mine's on Android. And once you first get the scooter, you're gonna need to sign up for a Unagi account and then download the app, turn the scooter on, and it should connect via Bluetooth automatically, and you're gonna see it'll turn green. Now, if it doesn't, just go into your Bluetooth settings and pair it there, and you'll see it'll connect almost immediately. A lot of great information on here as well. Here's my odometer. It says I got 6 miles on the scooter. My trip is at 0. My battery or my range is at 100% or 9.6 miles. Now I'm gonna tell you that it's actually calculating something, and I'm gonna show you that in a minute. Speed mode, park, 1, 2, and 3. You've got dual motor and single motor here. Now you notice when I go to dual motor, my range goes up by 1/2 mile, which seems backwards, but I guess it's more efficient. Also, headlight on and off. There's an E-lock here that you can turn on for safety. And then in the settings here under preferences, I put rider's weight 210 pounds. Now, I wonder if I change that to 150 pounds and go back to my range. Look at that, the range goes up to 13.2. So it's calculating based on the rider's weight how much you're actually gonna get in range, 9.6 miles. So that is a really cool, really smart app. All right, so you have 3 different speed modes here on the Voyager. Speed mode 1 is gonna get you about 10 miles an hour, 9 to 10 miles an hour. If you double click this button over here, speed mode 2, you can feel a little bit more pickup. It gets us to about, what, 12, 13 miles an hour. And then double click again, speed mode 3, and we're gonna get that full 20 miles an hour and all 500 watts of that power. All right, so let me go ahead and show you how these new electronic brakes work on your thumb throttle. So just like your throttle, where if you push more, you're gonna go faster, same goes with your brake. I can go give it a little bit. You see how I slow down gradually? Or if I give it a lot, I stop right away. So it's just like your throttle, but for your brake. Throttle, slow down gradually. I'm just giving it a little bit. See how I can give it more, and we're jerking? That's how strong it is. Slow down. See how quick? Accelerate. Slow down. Accelerate. Slow down slowly. Accelerate. I love that thumb brake. And you will too, I promise you. So this is where you're really gonna feel it with these solid tires, is going over stuff like this. I mean, my feet are just straight vibrating. Can you hear that? Ooh, it's got a really nice cornering to it. It almost feels like you're gonna slip, but then you don't. That's kind of interesting. I can really turn on these. See how low and maneuverable I can get this? Wow. That's something I just noticed going around a corner. I'm probably gonna fall here at some point because I'm gonna push my limits, but if you need to corner fast, look at that. So I guess there's another advantage of having solid tires. Definitely feels like you can control it with your feet. I'm not really turning my hands much, but if I lean left or lean right with my feet, the scooter moves like a skateboard, which is cool. See, I'll just lean left and we'll turn left. Lean right and I go right. Lean left. Use my electronic brakes slowly. And it's not letting me through today. That gate is hit or miss pretty much. All right, so I'm riding it against the wind right now, and I'm trying to see if I can still get 20 miles an hour, and it still does. Actually, 21 miles an hour against the wind, so there's plenty of power here, even when you start going low on battery. All right, so let me tell you a little bit about the Unagi rental program. So instead of paying the upfront cost, in this case, the Voyager is $1,499, you could just pay $69 a month, and the scooter is yours for as long as you'd like. There's no long-term contracts or commitments or anything like that that you have to worry about. Now, what does the $69 a month cover? Well, it's going to cover the cost of the scooter, of course, but it also covers loss and theft prevention insurance. So if you're riding it out in the city and it gets stolen, you're off the hook and you don't have to worry about that. So that's awesome to have. Plus, any maintenance or any problems you have with the scooter, instead of sending it in and getting it fixed, they're just going to send you a whole nother scooter. So you're going to have little to no downtime. So if you can't afford that upfront cost, the rental program is definitely something you should take advantage of. Another thing that I noticed too is that when at top speed, there's not really any speed wobbles. It doesn't want to, I mean, the short handlebars do affect the stability of it a little bit, as you can see. I mean, it does wobble, but it doesn't want to wobble on its own necessarily, if that makes sense. Now, we're almost down to the end of battery here. I'm still hitting 20 miles an hour, no problem. 21. No problem. So even with battery degradation from the ride, it still is able to put enough power there to keep you going 20 miles an hour. That's great. All right, well, I think that should about do it. We're down to 1 battery level here, and it looks like I've gone about 9 miles based on the odometer. Let's open up the app. The app is showing me, yep, I've gone 9 miles. I've got 2 miles left, so thank God it was in the good, because I still have to get home from where I'm at right now. But 2.1 miles, so I did pretty good. I was in speed mode 3 the whole time. I had dual motors going, so if you're my weight, 210 pounds, that's about the range you're going to get with the Unagi Voyager. If you're heavier than me, you're going to get less range, and if you're lighter than me, you're going to get more range. As you saw earlier, when we changed the weight limit, it actually gave a lot more range. So it all depends on your weight and, of course, your riding surfaces as well. Well, that was a lot of fun. So let me go ahead and give you my final thoughts, my pros and my cons of the Unagi Model One Voyager. Pro number 1 is going to be that new electronic braking throttle. Yeah, as I showed you in the ride, isn't it precise? It's super controlled, and you're able to slow down gradually or slow down a lot if you really need to, all with your thumb. No disc brakes needed here. That's pro number 1. Pro number 2 is the fact that you can rent this baby instead of having to buy it. Why spend $1,499 if you could just have it for $69 a month? I also like the high quality materials that they're using to make this scooter. You got magnesium alloy up here for the cockpit. You've got carbon fiber here on the stem, the same stuff that SpaceX uses on their rockets, which is really nice. I also like the one-click folding mechanism. It locks into place super simple. There's no loops or hooks on the back that you have to worry about or that actually fall off and you drop your scooter. You can pick it up and go wherever you need to go. It only weighs 29.6 pounds, so you can pick it up with 2 fingers, and when you're ready to ride again, you're just gonna click it, lock it into place, and you're ready to go. It's also really easy and quick to assemble. So when you get it in the box, it's going to be the stem and the scooter as one, and then this cockpit is going to be its own separate box. And you're only going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 screws to put in, and you're out riding and ready to go. So the ease and quickness of installation is awesome, and another pro in my opinion. I also like this little brake that they gave us here. It's not going to be needed very often, but just in case you do, you have that extra brake here on the back that you can push down. I love the grippiness of their deck here. The material that they're using is super grippy. If I pull my hand across it, you can see it's gripping it, and then you've got those ridges on there for a little extra wetness protection. Now, there are a couple things that I am not a big fan of. Number 1 is going to be those 7.5-inch solid tires. It's the first scooter that I've reviewed that has solid tires, and let me say, I'm not a fan. Also, while I know this is carbon fiber and this is a really fancy one-click folding mechanism down here, It also has a lot of stem wobble, a lot of stem play in it, and that's not something that I'm used to at all. Now, I know this is a high quality scooter. I know that the mechanism's been tested and this is made of space age carbon fiber, and I'm gonna be fine. But I just don't like the fact that there's all that wobble in the stem. It just doesn't make me feel good. So that is definitely a con. Now, what is something that I wouldn't buy the scooter for? No, I know I'm gonna be fine. As far as the tires, that's something that you're gonna have to decide. If you cherish the ride quality over everything else, then you might not like this. If you're like, hey, I just need to get around, I want something real nice, I need something that goes pretty quick, has some good range, I don't care if I feel the cracks in the sidewalks, then this is for you. Now, if you want to go ahead and buy one, or if you want to take advantage of the rental program, I'm going to put links down in the description for you. And if you have any questions or comments about the scooter, I'm happy to answer them. Just leave them below. If I've earned it today, hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the bell. And until next time, my friends, my name is Hobart for Hobart's Reviews and the Unagi Model One Voyager. Happy riding, and we'll talk to you later. Have a good rest of your day. See ya.